Thank you, Maria, for accepting my invitation, because it was October last year. She was in Rio. I gave her some caipirinhas and said, look, we are starting this very nice initiative, and I think it would be nice to tell people in PRIMO about it. What do you think? And she said, oh, okay. She was so happy with the caipirinhas. So thank you, Maria. The title of the presentation was crowdfunding, but since we started our crowdfunding and things are moving so fast and so many new things came up that I decided to change a little bit the name of the presentation, and I'm going to talk to you about not only about crowdfunding, but about something that I am starting to call Crowdscience. So this initiative that we started last year, it's this.
Oi, meu nome é Marcela e eu faço doutorado em Biofísica no Laboratório de Biologia Molecular Ambiental da Universidade Federal do Rio de Janeiro. Vou apresentar para vocês nosso projeto de pesquisa, que é o sequenciamento do genoma do mexilhão dourado. Bom, todos vocês já devem ter visto o mexilhão. Eles são uma delícia marinara ou com espaguete. O que estudamos é este aqui, bem pequeno, com mais ou menos 1 centímetro e que não é comestível e está causando um monte de problemas. Ele veio da China, em água de lastro, que é a água que os navios cargueiros carregam entre portos quando estão vazios. Quando ele chegou na Argentina em 91, rapidamente se espalhou pelas águas continentais do sul da América do Sul, Uruguai, Paraguai e foi subindo. Em 2001, já estava em Itaipu, na Lagoa dos Patos, nos rios Paraná, Paraguai e no Tietê. Hoje, ele já está no Pantanal, bem perto dos rios da Amazônia. Essa pesquisa faz parte de um projeto maior para não deixar de chegar até lá. Sabe, esses mexilhões levaram a crescer e multiplicar-se muito a sério. Eles crescem um do lado do outro, um em cima do outro, um por baixo do outro. Eles crescem, crescem e crescem. Em um ano, eles podem passar de 5 mexilhões por metro quadrado para 150 mil mexilhões por metro quadrado. Assim, eles entopem tubulações de estações de tratamento de água, de turbinas hidrelétricas, grudam nos cascos de barcos e navios, nos galhos de árvores, até mesmo na concha dos ônibus, que são outros bivalves nativos que não conseguem mais abrir as suas conchas por causa do peso e morrem. Mas o pior não é isso. Sem predadores naturais, eles se adaptaram ao clima tropical e só fazem 3 coisas: comer, dormir e namorar. Não necessariamente nessa ordem. Namoram mais do que dormem, mas comem mais ainda. Comem tanto, filtrando a água, que fazem as algas desaparecerem. Os peixes comem mexilhões, se enchem deles, mas esse bicho é difícil de digerir e até mesmo os peixes podem morrer de indigestão. Chamam o mexilhão de engenheiro de ecossistemas, porque onde ele entra, ele muda tudo, só que para pior. Na verdade, ainda sabemos muito pouco sobre eles. Mas sabemos, por exemplo, que o mexilhão se adere a qualquer superfície, porque tem um bicho muito forte que é produzido pela glândula do pé. Mas isso só não é suficiente. O que o pé desse mexilhão tem de especial? Este é o tipo de pergunta que queremos responder. Queremos estudar seus genes e DNA para podermos conhecê-lo melhor, mas tudo isso custa muito dinheiro, e é por isso que precisamos de sua ajuda. Nosso laboratório já sequenciou uma parte do genoma desse mexilhão, chamada transcriptoma, e agora queremos sequenciar o seu genoma inteirinho. E o que você ganha com isso? Além de todo o nosso amor e carinho, e de livrar o ambiente amazônico desta praga, vamos colocar o seu nome, o nome dos doadores, nos genes e proteínas que forem descobertos nessa pesquisa. Por exemplo, o meu nome é Marcela Uliano. Assim, se eu descobrir uma proteína legal, ela se chamaria ulianina. Quanto mais você doar, maior a sua chance de ter um super gene, uma super proteína ou uma super enzima nomeado em sua homenagem. Meio nerd, né? Mas já pensou uma enzima joanase? Eu acho demais. No Catarse, se não atingirmos a meta esperada, o dinheiro volta para você e ficamos sem um tostão. Por isso, chame seus amigos para nos ajudar a sermos o primeiro grupo brasileiro a sequenciar o genoma de um organismo complexo. Se tiver mais alguma dúvida, entre no site do Catarse ou escreva para a gente. Estaremos mais do que disponíveis para explicar a você um pouquinho desse mundo científico fantástico em que vivemos. Obrigada!
Okay, so I'm going to show you the web page of the crowdfunding, just to explain a little bit more about the project. For you to see, those are the mussels. She is sampling the mussels in Porto Alegre, in the southern part of Brazil. And we explain very briefly about the project. There is explanation also in English. I just wanted to show you some pictures. Okay, this is, and that's not the problem, especially of this mussel, but you see this unioidid with the muscles attached. They die because they cannot open their shells. And then you have the fish. It's food resource available in the environment. They start to eat it a lot, but they cannot digest it. So if you open their guts, what you see is full of mussels. And the amazing part is that if you take this mussel that you took out of the gut and you put in the water, they open up and they start to filter again. They are still alive. We are already around 1/3 of our goal, which is to raise 40,000 reais, which is about $20,000. And we are counting on you to get to 50% by the end of the day. So please go to the website after this talk and donate. We accept major credit cards and everything. So the first thing that people asked, actually my father asked, is why to do this? You know, he was kind of upset that the government was not giving money and I had to ask people for money. And it's not exactly true. So we got funded by the National Research Council more than once to study this problem. And I think that is just, it's in the US, for example, it's very, very normal for people to donate money to do things, especially at the university. In Brazil, that is not so common, so people even think, oh no, I'm begging for money. That's not true. It's of course, it's not because we already have the money to do the genome that we could not, no, I could use a little bit more of money, of course, to do things easily, to do things faster, but that's not really the main reason why we do it. No, the thing is that we are bloggers, so everyone in the lab has a blog. I have a blog for more than 7 years now, publishing regularly. We like science communication. We like to tell people about what we do in the lab. And we like to show off. We wanted everyone to see about this cool project. Actually, if you think, I think that invasive species are not getting the attention that they deserve. They are probably the new emerging pollutant, one of the most dangerous ones. We have to pay more attention to this kind of environmental problem. And people should pay attention to it too. People should know about it because it's infesting power plants, water supply plants. And so we did it because of all those reasons. And besides the 33%, so far we really hope we are going to get to 100%. What was more impressive to us was the non-financial response that we were getting from the public. So volunteers, people sending emails to us saying like, look, my company allows me to work 2 hours per week as a volunteer in a project. So we are technology information guys who probably can use a hand in doing the things that you do. And we don't want name on the publication. We don't want money. We just want to help. It's so strange when people are just volunteering to help, right? We even think, oh, what's, no, there's no catch there. They just want to help. Interns, people started to write to us, look, I'm an undergrad and I want to work in this project. How can I get to know your lab? So now we have a new bioinformatician because of the project. And press, newspapers, they started to like it. And we got some media, TV, newspapers, and then with the media, we got sponsors. So 2 companies so far called us and said, look, We want to support, to sponsor your project. Actually, more than if you have other projects that are nice, we are willing to sponsor them too. So we are discussing with them. All those things happen in the last 2 weeks, because the duration of the crowdfunding, we make it in sessions. We applied for 60 days. So far, we have like 32 or 33 days remaining. So everything is happening very, very fast. And as you can see, it's happening everywhere. So this article was published in Nature now, 2 weeks ago, on the 2nd of May, if I'm not wrong, talking about crowdfunding initiatives in science everywhere. So people are raising up to almost $200,000 in one project. So far, they raised more than $3 million in different crowdfunding projects in the US. Not only in Nature, this was published like 2 days ago in PhD Comics. So they are actually criticizing the reduction in the funds in research in the US. They are talking about crowdfunding. You can raise a lot of money, but this cannot be seen as a substitute for governmental money for research. But the thing is, as an alternative source of money, it is great. And the fact that you can communicate your project to the general public, it's a little bit the problem that we have nowadays. Society is getting apart from academia because they don't understand. We are not very good in telling them that. So we need to make an effort. That video was an effort to communicate something that was genome complicated, sequencing, and even the environmental part. So we had to try to use a different language from the one that we are using to communicate that. For those who are interested, I highly recommend to take a look at on YouTube at this guy's presentation, Michael Pick. I saw him in Frankfurt last year at the book fair. He is German, he is a game producer, and he raised in 1 month $500,000 in Kickstarter, which is the biggest crowdfunding site in the world, in the US, and he gives several tips. Many of them we followed when preparing our crowdfunding, and you're going to like it. It's a good start. For those willing to know if there is a crowdfunding close to you, I know Crowd Culture based in Sweden, so probably everyone in Europe can use it. Catarse in Brazil, I'm not especially aware of any crowdfunding site in Asia or in other places in Latin America, but I'm sure they exist. So like 4 facts that you should have in mind when thinking about crowdfunding. So the first is not to get disappointed. You have to think about which are your expectations and try not to get frustrated, because it's not every day that people donate. So I start to get like this, 24 hours without any donation, what's happening? So we have to know that there are funding peaks, the first and the last weeks. So on the first week, what you get is money from the 3 F's of the entrepreneurship, like friends, family, and fools. So this is what is going to happen during your first week. And then in the last week, you have those investors. So those are kind of professional crowdfunders that they are around the website and they are waiting to see which projects are going to take off. And then they because they want their money to be, really used, so they want to put it on the projects that took off until the last week. So your work is to try to get, your project in this gray area, which is the area that we are exactly now, and that's why you should all go to the crowdfunding page and donate. But the expert says that if you can get 50% of your funding through your 3 apps, then you are likely to get the other 50% from those crowdfunding investors. The second thing is timing. Timing is very, very important. So like, don't do it before Christmas or summer holidays, because people's budget is already committed to other things, right? Make sure your project stays in the air long enough to get the beginning and the end of the month. Some people have money only in the beginning of the month, so they donate. Other people want to pay their bills, and then they will see if there is enough money by the end of the month, so they donate. So you need to get this entire window. And if you live in Brazil, for example, avoid Carnival, because people have better things to do than searching the internet to donate money, and this is important. So, third thing is socialize. Now, crowdfunders are online, and you have to go there to get them. Also, use Facebook, use Twitter, blog about it, but also go to the traditional media, newspapers and everything. But the bigger part of the donators is online. So you need to build a strong presence online. Okay. And it is time consuming. To plan everything, to prepare, especially if it's the first time. Now we are doing other ones, and it's being much easier. And it is time consuming to market it. You have to be in Facebook. It has to be every day, but it cannot be too much, otherwise people get bored with it. So it's tricky, but still it's much easier than to write a proposal to ask for the same amount of money through the proper channels, and it's 10 times more fun. The other thing is that last thing is that the project has to be appealing, but we are environmental scientists, and everything that we do is appealing. Before 50, I'm not so sure, but it's a joke, John. But the thing and this is kind of my main message today to you, is appealing is not about the topic. Appealing is how you tell your story. And we are not good in telling stories, but we have to learn how to tell the stories, because it doesn't matter what you do, even before 50, if you tell your story okay, people are going to like it, they are going to understand, they are going to like it, and they are going to give you money to do it. So don't don't prepare your video like the talk that you would have with someone here in PRIMO, like everybody knows science. Prepare something like if you're going to explain to your mother, and that's it. Okay, so if I was to talk to you only about crowdfunding, the talk would pretty much end right now. But what happened in this month that our crowdfunding was in the air is that we saw something big here, something much bigger than just an alternative way of funding, like innovative ideas. I started to see a way to answer this question that has been bothering me for a while. Many of you know that we have been doing in Brazil this international school to try to motivate the students, to try to get them to really know what expect them after they get their PhDs, and how they can be more creative, how they can approach the different challenges that they are going to have in science. And because I'm really worried about the future of my students, and the future of all the students. So, if you take a look, this is a report that was published by the American Chemical Society last year, and they are saying, despite all the contribution that science, here they say chemical sciences, to the security, health, and economic vitality of the country, but you can for sure substitute chemical science for any science, and nation here for any country. Because science, if we look around, everything comes out of science. And despite the fact that most of it, they believe, comes out of the graduate school system, they are sure that there's something that has to change so we can sustain, enterprise, entrepreneurship in a new globalized world. Okay, 3 topics. So I'm going to show 2 of their conclusions. They see that the current educational opportunities for graduate students are not enough to provide the preparation that they are going to need after they graduate. So they believe that graduate school has to keep, their traditional depth and focus on the mastery, but the students need to know other things. They need to know how to communicate complex topics to both technical and non-technical audiences. They need to collaborate in a global teams, and they need effectively to create, to work towards more practical and significant results. So like they are begging graduate students to think more about innovation. And one of the reasons is that the current system to fund graduate schools, it's not sustainable anymore. And it was good to see this being said by the American Chemical Society, but I'm sure that if you really think without putting heart on it, it's everywhere. Yeah? The system is not working as it used to. And they believe that graduate courses should tell their students more about the real opportunities that they are going to find once they graduate. And in Brazil, definitely we are not doing this. There is no jobs for everyone in academia. And for those who were in Long Beach, I already showed this Nature's article. It was released in 2011. The world is just producing too many PhDs. So look here, those are the PhDs awarded, especially in medical and biological sciences. You can see here the red line and the green line going up. The time, it's a long time to the average to get a PhD is kind of 6 years. But on the other hand, the full tenure jobs are just going down, postdoc positions going up, and part-time jobs are stable. So like, there is no job for everyone. What we are going to do about it? I believe that part of this problem, it's not me. This is, for example, this book is a great book. I don't know if you have read, The Pastor Quadrant. Donald Stokes, a kind of science philosopher. He already died in '97, but his book is great, showing that the system of financing science is not working anymore because society is not willing to pay for this huge base of basic research, meaning that innovation is going to come out of it, and it's not coming in the same rate that they would expect. So in the book, more or less, very briefly, what he says is that if you create a map where you have in one X innovation, applied science, and in the other X, basic science, what you get is, some quadrants where you have nothing, neither one nor the other. One quadrant where you have, both, just basic science. So those are guys like Niels Bohr that wanted just, enlightenment, knowledge for knowledge. In the other quadrant, you get just application, guys like Thomas Edison, that was, a factory of patents, just producing things. But in one quadrant, you have both things. So it's guys like Pasteur that get a problem, a commissioned problem. Like, look, the wine, some days it comes well, some days it doesn't. What's happening here? So Pasteur, with a commissioned question, produces basic science. So he gets his basic science out of an applied problem. So he discovers microorganisms, and then what he does, creates vaccines. So, it's a different model to feel this and to leave the society more, to bring society closer to science. this is the way that I am trying to do things in how we are trying to think our problems in my lab. This is just to show you some cool data from the OECD showing that we need to meet the climate challenges. We need innovation, and we are not getting all the innovation that we need. So those are patents on renewable energy, electric and hybrid vehicles, and energy efficient buildings. You see, okay, Japan, United States, and Germany producing a lot of patents trying to find those technologies, but then Brazil is not even here. In Brazil it's a disaster, the rate between basic science and patents. We didn't get there yet. This is another example of how much innovation we are getting out of basic science. So if you get all the patents in green technology that are where you have citations, if you look at basic science citations and patent citations and you cross-reference the data, what you see is that in some basic science, which are not that basic, like chemistry is basic, but of course it has huge industrial application. So in material science and in chemistry, you have 14, maybe almost 20% of this basic science being turned into patents and technology. But look at that biological and agricultural science, like not even 4%. It's very little. We need to put, more ideas in focus. And we have a lot of new people producing science. So look, those are in blue, the known producers of the science in the world, and in red, the new players. And the read of those lines means joint publications between those two countries. We have new people coming to this system of science and technology, and we have to tell them, look, that there is a lot of PhDs and of recently graduate students in this, in this big pot, and we have to tell them, we need to do more innovation because there are no jobs in basic science for everyone. So, okay, the idea then is that what we started to think and what we put in place in this 1 month that we have been doing the crowdfunding is this idea of crowdscience. So we saw that there is really an opportunity for projects to be, especially the innovative ones, especially those that are targeting, to produce something. Not only knowledge, but that they produce something, because the society, when they see something, they are eager they better understand it. So as an alternative way of doing science, we could, use the power of young scientists that are there, that they don't know exactly what they are going to do, they don't know what the future is going to bring to them. So get your ideas, think about something innovative, think about something that you can show to society and ask them to fund you. You don't, because it's a new idea, you are going to produce something out of it. And then with that, what we can do is help you put your crowdfunding in the air. We are going to do that for Brazilian young scientists. And after you get your money, what we created is a structure involving a biotech company that they are going to rent the lab space. So, okay, you are not affiliated to a laboratory, no problem. You can, use we can rent our PCR machine overnight for you. You go there, you put your reaction, you do your science even without belonging to a laboratory officially. So you can do science in your spare time. You can do science while you are, working as a bartender. You can do a lot of things. Maybe we are going to get the innovation that we need. Imagine if we are start to getting patents out of this, let's say alternative route to get things done. So I'll be more than happy to take some questions for you. I thank you a lot for your attention. If you want to take your phones and take a picture, this is the QR code to take you to the Golden Muscle crowdfunding page, and this is the QR code to take you to this presentation online. Thank you very much.